All right. Welcome back, everyone, to Red Spotlight. We're here early. We're here in the daylight, not the nighttime this time, to do an early reaction to the special number 3 of Doctor Who. These last 2 weeks, David and I have reacted live to the previous 2 installments to, I would say, pretty spectacular results. Both of us ended up being very taken with both episodes, and last week was really, just a continuation of that. That was a truly phenomenal episode. I've got to say, like, in real time watching it, I like the episode a lot, but in going back and watching it several times over, especially with other people reacting to it, I'm like, no, this is one of the best episodes the show has done, not just in years, but I think like this is gonna be somebody's midnight from this generation, and then maybe 10 years from now, they'll be this. Like this was honestly, um, to me, it was a two-hander also because it was mainly just David Tennant and Catherine Tate, and it really just shows off their talents in honestly the best way possible. Like that last episode was just truly just something special. And then going into this episode, well, there's a lot happening. Russell T Davies himself sent out this video online saying that people should watch this immediately because if you don't, you're going to get spoiled. And he was like, big things are going to happen. And he himself said that big things are going to happen that people are going to be very like split on. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens on here. There are some things that I'm aware of that are happening in terms of, well, not spoilers, but just circumstances. The first of which is, unfortunately, we're not going to be seeing any more of Bernard Cribbins because the last week, or that scene was all they were able to do, and then he couldn't come back on set because he wasn't feeling well.
Oh.
So they were going to have him be in a lot more in this episode, obviously, but they just were not able to do that because he just didn't feel great. So what we're going to be seeing here is, I guess some cutaway shots. I know that in the beginning, because I saw a clip, Donna is with him, but you don't see his face. You just see the wheelchair. And then on one of the, because again, they release clips and everything, there's this moment where you do hear his voice, but they borrowed a line from season 4. I believe the line was, "Go with the doctor." So he said that in those episodes where the what are they called again? The alien species, the Santarans.
Okay.
They invaded, or they were about to invade, and they were gassing people to death with the cars. And this is the part where Donna leaves, and Wilf was like, "Go with the doctor." So they borrowed that line and they put it in this episode based on the clip that I saw and people were like seeing. So. But fortunately, we're not going to be seeing any more of him, which is really a bummer because obviously you do want to see him. But at the same time, you do want to be thankful and grateful for what we did get, because that scene was everything.
Yeah.
That was kind of what we needed.
I wish I could get more, but at the same time, like I'm happy with what we got because even that line, everything's great now. Nothing can go wrong. So it's
exactly.
Like, yeah, we love him.
So, and the reality is, it's like these are the last few months of his life. He only passed away like maybe a couple of months after the filming of this. So he unfortunately just wasn't at his best at 94 years old. So it is what it is. Other things to keep in mind here, because it's been advertised. So the next episode is not it is a special. It is the Christmas special. But that will officially be the first episode with Ncuti Gatwa. And so that means that what we're about to see, this is the last one. And I think we're going to see a regeneration happen in this episode. And it's really interesting to see what's going to happen there because dude, this happened 2 weeks in a row. I forgot to plug in my mic. I'm sorry. Let me do it again. Jesus Christ. Oh my God, this happened again. Okay. Whatever, I plugged it in. We're good now. Anyway, so what makes me feel two minds about this is that, well, I understood from the very beginning this was going to be limited. Okay, just real quick. Are you seeing that there's a change in the?
Yeah, I noticed it.
Okay, I'm so fucking sorry, guys. I really am. So what is that? I forgot it 2 weeks in a freaking row.
I know.
Okay, I blame myself. Anyway,
It's fine. No, I should have caught it too because part of it was kind of like, there's no way he did it again, right? Like, I feel like this can't be.
I don't know what happened, but something drove me to look. There was a thought that crept up that, did I forget to look at my map? And it happened again. Okay, so I understood from the very beginning this is going to be a very limited thing to see Donna and David Tennant back again. But it also just makes me feel like, well, these last 2 weeks have been amazing. It makes you long for having a full season with them, because of how good this has been. So it's just like it's a bit conflicting in a way, right? So we just got these people back, and now we're gonna say goodbye again. Now we got to transition out to the next thing, and so it's interesting. You want to see here how the reason he got this face back plays into it. And I wonder how that ties in with that scene from Day of the Doctor, right? Where I believe Matt Smith had that final exchange with Tom Baker. And I'm wondering how that all was even possible, if that was supposed to be a future iteration of the Doctor or another version of the Doctor.
Yeah.
Which that was never touched on. So I'm curious to see if that plays into anything here. Were there any other things that you were aware of, David, as far as who's in this episode?
No, I know nothing about this
Okay.
episode. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna leave it there because
Yeah.
there are some other things I could say, but it's not really relevant, and we can get to it after the fact.
No, I mean, I'm happy about the wolf part because I probably would have like watched the episode and been like, "Oh, is that it?" and would have been disappointed. But now that you explained it, though, I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's perfect."
At least we can get that out of the way, and I thought I wanted to say that because like I don't want to. I would be the same way too. I would be like waiting and waiting and waiting, and I'm like, wait, did they not film anything else? And they were, but they were not able to. That was the problem. So, oh well, it is what it is. So as long as that's out of the way with, I think we can go ahead and get started. Let me go ahead and look at where I am at, and let me try something first, David. Okay, give me a second. That was strange. I just got a call. I apologize for that. Let me just press play on my own.
We can just press play and then put it on 00 on our timeline.
Oh man.
You don't want to get another advertisement?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for, because what happened last week is I got a freaking trailer for Indiana Jones. Which is like the randomest thing that's ever happened when using Disney Plus.
Such beautiful pink-faced Dollen, yeah. We have the compendium.
Can you see who that is?
The guy, or
the guy with the accent? Do you recognize that actor?
Oh yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
Stooky Sue and the poor Stooky babies.
That is so creepy.
That's him though, isn't it? Or like the guy looking for the doll? That's.
It looks a lot like him.
Yeah,
right?
I wonder.
Oh God, we just got creepier.
Okay. Also, I can't get over like I still see Barney Stinson whenever I just see him. I just see like bits and pieces of him, Especially the part where he was like, "What was it? She'll never miss anything again," or something like that. It's just, he always does that kind of like he always does it like that on certain moments in How I Met Your Mother.
Doing it what I like. You'll get yourself killed. It's my life, not yours. But you could just stand over there and be.
Did you see that?
No shit.
You saw that?
It just took me a second, even though they like switched focus on it.
I need all the statistics. Oh, no way.
Oh, that is the best news, Melanie. Hello.
That's an old companion, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, it's Mel. That's one of the old companions on the classic series.
No way.
That
Yeah.
wasn't the first redhead?
No, that was me.
Wasn't the first redhead. That's fine.
What do I care? I mean, seriously. Why should I care about you?
Exactly. That's no different than what we see every day.
It's not like the old Archangel network. There's nothing hiding in that signal.
Oh, that's a deep reference. Remember that one? The Archangel Network, isn't that what the Master used to control everybody in season 3 when he took over the world?
Really?
Remember?
Oh.
Yeah,
Ooh.
the Oh
Okay.
no, or the Archangel Network maybe was. Well, I'll tell you later.
Okay.
Survive this, you should think about joining UNIT.
How much per year?
60,000.
120 plus 5 weeks holiday.
Done.
I mean,
Okay. Nice.
October 1925 at 22 Frith Street, Soho, W1D4RF.
If I weren't ready, don't wait for me.
TARDIS?
Sweet 17.
so now we're back in time. Okay.
Yeah. Well, although I don't, he's not gonna like stop the puppet, is he, or something like that?
I don't know.
That'll for sure change the timeline right there. Or maybe I'm hoping he's just kind of like investigating like who put that in the first place.
Mm.
And it's like you're staggering. You are staggering along. Maybe that's why your old face came back. You're wearing yourself out.
I love it when they put reasons to the faces. Like you didn't,
Yeah.
you didn't need that with Capaldi, but they did it, and I loved it.
And that was still an amazing moment. I was like,
Mhm.
whoa.
Don't tell me he's got his own TARDIS.
The TARDIS is an idea the Toymaker would throw away. We've stepped inside his domain, and it's governed by the rules of play.
So the Toymaker, do you know about him? Like, is he just some kind of like primordial being or something?
I
like
don't
that?
really know anything about
Okay.
him. All I know is that he was a villain that hasn't been seen. He hasn't been seen since William Hartnell,
Mhm.
the very first Doctor.
Dang.
I'm poor wee Sticky Sue. I don't know what to do. I lost my precious hubby. They threw me in the cubby.
Oh God.
No.
No, walk
Nuh-uh.
away, run,
Mm-mm.
no.
Kick it. I don't like this though. Oh, God. Like, that's actually funny.
They missed their kiss goodnight.
Oh, I just got it. That's the family that Toymaker was. Wow, I'm dumb. I like how this is creepier though than the last episode.
Right.
Amy Pond was touched by the weeping angel, and she died.
Oh God, is he gonna?
She died of old age.
Well, that's all right then. But she was killed by a bird.
She still survives in her last second of life.
Well, that's all right then. But
Oh
then
my God.
the doctor met Bill, not Stooky Bill.
And her consciousness survives.
Oh, well, that's all right then. And then there came...
Madonna was like, what the fuck?
Oh,
Made a jigsaw out of your history. Did you like it?
You don't mean?
Rick, cut it, please.
Yeah,
I don't think he's. He kind of was the perfect person to play this, honestly.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
if you want craziness, you want wild, but like, just play it somewhat seriously, though. He's
Yeah.
fucking
Neil-
perfect, honestly.
yeah.
Oh, I just.
Oh shit! Oh my God!
Oh my god! Wait, compare this to the Master.
Right?
Oh,
I was thinking the exact same thing because that was the epitome of cringe this show has ever come close to.
dude, like for real though, like I mean, this it doesn't make sense from at least. I mean, no, the Master did it in David Tennant's run and all that, something like that. But like, it wasn't. It just wasn't the same. I don't know. Maybe it was probably the song.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I was wondering why he doesn't have like a hole in his chest though. Like, okay.
What?
That's never happened before, right?
No.
Well, maybe.
He doesn't have any pants, by the way. I don't know if you noticed that. I don't think he's wearing pants.
No?
Maker of the games. Do you think
Get him some pants. Jesus.
I know. No one's. Yeah.
Oh, look! Oh, that's not bad. Wheelchair accessible.
At last, you finally caught up with the 21st century.
I just noticed David Tennant was barefoot. I mean, he lost his shoes. That's why
Oh,
he
yeah.
is wearing them.
I just see it too.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. When did my video change? Oh.
I didn't notice it, honestly.
Yeah. Okay. There it is.
Okay. Yeah. So, yes, David, at some point your background, I guess, changed.
Yeah.
I didn't notice it. So,
I'll just leave it there.
it's okay. No, it doesn't matter. I was just like, I just realized my computer was about to die.
Oh, shit.
Jesus, I'm just so into this episode. I just wasn't even looking at anything
No,
else.
yeah. We barely made... I tried, like, commenting on some stuff, but I'm just kind of like, I don't want to miss a thing.
No, I mean, we're trying to say so many things. I know we're talking about the Archangel Network. Like, I thought that was what yeah, it was both things. The Master used that to make everybody in the world be like him, or I believe he used that to take over the world the first time. And then the Archangel Network was, or was it something else? I don't know. Maybe it was the other one where Harriet Jones, the Prime Minister, used to communicate with all the companions when the Daleks and Dobbers were taking over. It's one of those, but I remember that name somewhere. But again, it's been a long time since I've seen any of that. I got to tell you, this episode that we just watched, I mean, it's like, I can't also really say how much we reacted to the previous two. It's just like, it's amazing how just completely in it I was, and I just didn't want to, I was just, I was literally on every breath just waiting to see what would happen next. There is a lot to touch on here, but I'm just gonna say, and I can see some people might not necessarily. No, I can definitely tell some people are going to be very angry about, like, I guess a decision that was made here with the bi-generation thing. Can I just move past that real quick and just say something? And that is, to me, one of the things that I've always wanted to see, in this show, especially since I've been watching it for so many years now, is the idea of, well, you know what? Give me a minute. I need some time to put the right words to this. It's a lot I want to say, but let's start with that, David.
Well, you mentioned that some people are probably not gonna like the decision of bi-generation. To me, I feel I can understand you being so confused about that whole idea of it and everything, but you also got to understand regeneration when it first came out, that was just an excuse they made up so they can keep the show going.
They made it up on the fly.
Yeah. And
it was
so
like, what?
This is it. I understand if you went by generation, like, what the fuck, like, you made it up on the spot, but also this is kind of the thing that people wanted when Whittaker came out. People kept going, if you wanted a female doctor, just establish a character and then have her own spin-off show and all that. First of all, spin-off shows don't last long. Literally, name me one that was as successful as the original show. It just doesn't work. So that whole idea was bullshit. This one, though, is a far better idea because I think they've kind of established that the Ncuti's doctor, like, it's the doctor, but he doesn't have that baggage that Tennant's doctor is holding,
and with the 14th Doctor, right? So it's because the 14th Doctor was not, it was the baggage of literally all of them before, right? Like his iteration of the 14th Doctor was, and you saw it even in last week and here too, just how much he had gone through and we had talked about how David Tennant was playing it mostly the same, but there were some nuances there that you could tell. This is an iteration that came after Smith, Capaldi, and Whitaker. And this whole idea of, the Doctor never fucking stopping, never taking a breath. And to me, I have to say something. I think that was just absolute perfection. The choice to do this now more than any other previous time, especially because, I want to say, I do not at all think this was done as a dig or as an insult to the previous Jodie Whittaker, Chris Chibnall era. But I just got to say that in some ways, this moment that we just witnessed with the 14th Doctor being split off and having an actual adventure that is a bit more, I guess, domestic, you could say, and taking the time to take a breather and relax. I don't think this moment in some ways would be as strong as it is if we didn't just go through, 3 seasons of a Doctor that was the most closed off Doctor we had ever seen. Now, yes, we saw it in just these 3 episodes that to an extent the Doctor has been closed off. And even in this episode, we have an actual acknowledgement because, Donna did know of Martha and she knew of Rose, but she didn't know of all the other people that came before them. I mean, all the other regenerations. So Mel's like, wait, who's Mel? How come you never mentioned her? And how come you never ever talk about any of these other people? And it was by no accident that just a few minutes later, she knows about Amy Pond. She knows about Clara Oswald. She knows about Bill. And it's like, oh, they're actually thankfully addressing this thing that has always been gnawing at me. One of the things to me that has never really been, fulfilled is having the full weight of that come to a breaking point and it being too much. And even in what I just mentioned, there's so much to say, but I don't think all of this would work the way that it's working on me so much right now. I was really moved by it because we've just got off so many years of a Doctor that, first of all, barely felt like the Doctor, but in more ways than any of the previous iterations was so much more infuriating and frustrating to see because she closed herself off more than she ever needed to. And it was even more frustrating when companions went out of their way to try and get even a little bit. But no, nothing. There was no characterization whatsoever. There was no moment to have any kind of intimacy. Now, in the previous iterations, did the Doctor ever say all the information? No, he never does. But he allowed for moments of vulnerability. He allowed to get close to people. There were actual relationships, And so it's actually kind of hilarious how at no point none of 13's companions are mentioned or brought up. I wonder why. I mean, there was no actual emotional connection there, really, if you think about it, because the people who meant a lot to him were the ones that the toy maker brought up. Bill and Clara and Amy, who, you could, I love how in every one of those, he was like, well, technically at the end, but still they died, and they died on your watch. And that doesn't ever go away. And one of the frustrations I've always had with this show is that we just pick up and move on, and we can't build off of what came before. To me, one of the things that this show did the worst was having an amazing master with Missy and seeing the arc that she went on. And then, it ends perfectly, but the next master just doesn't even pretend like it ever happened at all. And so it doesn't at all fit with me. So my single biggest frustration with the show was always just treating the previous era as if it just didn't happen. And I get that with a show this long, at some point you have to do that. You have to reset the table. But you know what? I think sometimes you do have to just revel and maybe just take some time to explore in the lore and in the history and the families that you have built across all these different generations. And I'm just so happy that finally we have a story here that allows for that and actually brings validity to it instead of just always brushing it off and saying, well, the Doctor is a Doctor and he always has to keep moving on. And that's true. Yes, that's what makes him the Doctor. But at some point, still, like that, in this moment, I think was brought to just the best way it could have ever been pulled off when he and Ncuti were having that conversation in the TARDIS was when you bring Donna and she's like, but this is what I've been trying to tell you. This is this is why your face came back, because it's time for you to slow down. It's time for you to just process everything that you have been through. And that's all I've ever wanted to see this show actually do. And it's also been something that particularly Russell T Davies has kind of been dangling a little bit. Even if you go back to the first 4 seasons, one of the things that made his Doctor Who seasons very different from what I have seen anyway than the classic seasons that came before was there was more of a focus, or I guess there was more of a presence of the home life of the companions, because in the classic series, the companions just got picked up and we never knew any of the people that they were attached with at home. We never saw any of their families. But with every companion in this new Who, we have seen, and I would say that, Stephen Moffat didn't do it as much as T. Davies, and Chibnall, we know how that went. But Russell T. Davies was the one that was most committed to this idea of an extended cast of characters that pertained outside of the companions, but were connected to the companions. We saw this with Rose Tyler. We saw it with Martha. And especially, we saw it with Donna. Now, Moffat did it, not as well. I mean, we had a few characters here and there. I think we saw Clara's parents one time, and then we never again. But still, the point is, Russell T Davies introduced this idea in Doctor Who of there being something of a domestic side to things, that the Doctor has never actually slowed down. And you can make the argument that in some ways, this is him closing a thread that he began all those years ago, because especially if you go back and see those 4 seasons with Rose Tyler and Martha and with Donna, there are plenty moments where the companions are just like, but think of it, you could always come and visit. You can always, why does it have to be goodbye? Why does it have to be the end? Why do you have to keep on going? You could have this too. And the Doctor always just like, yeah, maybe it'll be nice, but I just get bored. And he's right. He would have gotten bored at some point. And, I guess we can have a little bit of I wasn't sure how to feel in the moment about this whole also giving him a TARDIS, because it also just gives him an out whenever he can have one.
Yeah.
And you can make the argument that also just lessens the impact of him staying at home. And I totally buy that. But then that scene kind of worked really well at the end, where he's just going on trips, and it's just like, maybe this would have been the only way the Doctor would have been okay with even allowing something of a domestic presence in his life, was if he had the TARDIS in the background where he could just keep on. And it also allows for him to continue having a relationship with the TARDIS, which is his longest relationship that he's had throughout the whole show. So I'm sorry, I just needed to get that out, because to me, we can talk about whether or not like all the stuff that worked here or worked basically, but to me, this episode did things for me that I have been wanting to see since the very first time I ever watched Doctor Who. And I've been watching Doctor Who since 2014, 2015. We're going on almost 10 years now. This is something I've been waiting for the show to address on some meaningful level, and to actually use the companions that we spent so much time with and bring them up and not just toss them to the side. It was just amazing. It's like I didn't think we would get any. First of all, Mel. I mean, this is I think this is the first episode I actually see her with. I don't really know Mel. I know of her from previous things, but I know Bill, I know Clara, I know Amy, and seeing Donna react to like, what the fuck? Like, is this really what happened after you left me? And it's like, well, yeah. And so I don't know. I'm just like, I'm in the afterglow of it. I can see people not liking that part at all, and I understand it, but for me, I hope I made it clear why it's something that I actually really liked, that what they did here in this, in this whole bi-generation, if this is what the end result was of it, I'm actually pretty happy with it right now. We'll see how I feel in the days and weeks to come, especially when we come in 2 weeks for the Christmas special. But to me, is this you're having your cake and eating it too? Yeah. Am I mad at it? No, not at all. Not when you pulled it off you pulled it off in my
Yeah.
eyes. You kind of made it work.
Yeah, it's questionable whether it's like perfect or not and everything, but it's like, I mean, that's kind of Doctor Who. Again, the whole, when, I remember, so in the last episode, some people who hated the Whittaker's era, not because, I mean, yeah, because she was the woman and all that, but also just in general.
Some did, but those were not valid criticisms.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you meant to say.
Yeah, basically, yeah. But like the people who just did not like the Flux storyline, they hated that it was brought up in the last episode and everything.
Or the Timeless Child.
Or the Timeless Child, and because they thought maybe it would get people confused. But like, I fucking went into this series watching the library first, and you literally had a character who was like telling you how great this man is and everything, and I just kind of went along with it and enjoyed it, and it actually got me to watch the show. So like, doesn't matter where you start in Doctor Who, doesn't matter what kind of information you get, like, these writers know how to like fucking grab you and like and all that. And so I forgot where I was going with that. I remember, I just wanted to bring that up first.
Right. Yeah.
But also like in terms of like them pulling off this idea, I really like that it is sort of starting over basically. You can't just forget about it and all that, especially because like, how do you do that with a long running show? The reason why in the first when the show first came back, the reason why they put the whole idea that the Time Lords were gone is because they needed something to kind of like start over. That was the best thing to do. And also, I remember now why I brought up the Flux thing. Doctor Who has always had like crazy ways to kind of like fix certain types of things and all that. With the whole Time Lords being gone, you had the Day of the Doctor, and they were just like, how do we fix this? There's a machine that is so powerful, it grew sentient and is able to break away from time locks, and then brought all the doctors together. Like, that is a crazy idea and all that. Yes, this one is crazier, but it used stuff from the past that like you just kind of have to like work around it and kind of just take it at face value and all that. Some people don't like that kind of thing, but like, again, it used something that was previously mentioned. He didn't just make a toy maker on the spot or something like that. So I think that was really cool. I think with what they were working with what they were trying to do, I think they kind of pulled it off pretty well. So, and like I said too, I like that we're just starting all over again. This Shooty's Doctor, he doesn't have the baggage that what Tennant's Doctor is carrying and all that.
I mean, literally, the bi-generation is him just dropping the baggage. I don't want to say like David Tennant is like something like a lift weighted a lift taken off your shoulders, but it really is in ways that I think like it works on two levels. It works because people who are going to be watching the show for the first time now don't necessarily have to have the full context. The same way that you and I, David, didn't have the full context when we watched the first episode, Rose, because there were like 20 some seasons that came before this that we didn't even know about or watch at all. So the show needs to exist in a way where it can keep going. And I guess you could say that the criticism, or one criticism, not that I feel like it bothers me because I'm a longtime viewer, but if you're a new person watching these last 3 episodes, there's a lot that happens here that you kind of have to know. You kind of have to have a history with these relationships to actually feel the full impact of it. Not that they don't work on their own. They can still work just fine, but they don't work anywhere near as well unless you know who they are and have those memories of being with these people. But now with Chudy's Doctor now moving forward, he's older. He still has those memories. It's not like they're not part of him, but now he can be alive again. He can be free again. This is the Doctor post the 14th Doctor actually taking the time. Like the 14th Doctor has to stay so the 15th Doctor can be who he can be and actually move forward. It's so brilliant. And it also it works on two levels, right? Like it works for the people who are new finding the show, but it also works really well for the character finally having that moment of retrospection, that moment to just like say, we've been doing this again and again and again, and at some point we have to take a break. At some point you have to deal with all the things that you just went through. We even saw it in last week's episode. The Doctor was just not okay because he just went off through the Timeless Child and the Flux, and of course he would be that way because one would think that when you would introduce concepts like the timeless child and the flux, maybe you would actually, I don't know, address it and deal with it. But the previous showrunner had was like, no,
Yeah.
two big things that, and at no point it was like, no, we're never going to bring it up. So I don't know. To me, in a way, as a viewer, as a longtime viewer who has been frustrated with the way the show has gone the last few years, Russell T Davies kind of pulled off the impossible here. And I'm not even sure I could say he pulled it off, you know, all the way or cleanly or in the cleanest way possible. But he was able to grab whatever the fuck Chibnall did and make something out of it.
Yeah.
And also create a new way forward, and while at the same time closing threads that Russell T Davies himself started many years ago. It's just insane how I'm here, and I think it kind of worked.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like I'm just so okay with this. Like I like the idea that we can just finally move on from this. You know, we can just end it. We can basically end it here. Just be like, okay, Tennant's just gonna stay at home. He's gonna work through his shit. He'll be happy, and then we can just we can stop the show here. But
exactly. That's what I felt. I'm like, it's so weird to me how this felt like a series finale, but then also a premiere at the same time. It's so right. Like in so many ways, this can be a series finale. In fact, if you wanted to, not that I would suggest anyone do so, because T. Davies is obviously, he's got it. He's still got it. And we've got a new Doctor. And if you love this show, you're going to keep watching it. But if you're of the persuasion, as I am, where, you know, Twice Upon a Time, the last Capaldi episode, was like the best way to close off that whole 10 years of Doctor Who. Well, add these 3 episodes to it, and and you can hop off here, honestly.
For sure. No, I mean, yeah, I remember we kept saying that too when Capaldi regenerated. We were just kind of like, damn, you can just end it here. You know, you don't have to move on. But then, like, no, Russell T Davies comes in and it's just like, no, we have to deal with a lot of stuff the Doctor went through, and like, we're kind of like, oh yeah, that's still true. Never thought that we would actually do that. They would do that, but yeah, he did, and I'm happy for it. And I'm excited for the next series for sure. For Shudi's presence and all that. Oh, he's also he was pretty great.
That's the thing too.
He has energy.
Oh god, dude, I feel bad for saying this, and I have to say a couple of things first. I don't think that, to me, the very best episode of the previous era with Chibnall and Whittaker is still the first, The Woman Who Fell to Earth. That to me was the episode that came the closest to feeling like Doctor Who, and that was like the only excitement I ever experienced out of any of those Chibnall episodes, because that one to me was at least, you know, trying to make a promise that we were in a new age, we were in a new era, and for all the reasons that we've been saying, it just didn't work. But it is to me, absolutely exactly what we saw here with Trudy. This is exactly what a Doctor needs to be introduced. This is exactly the feel. Oh my god, what the fuck is happening? Oh my god, this is really good. Oh my god, he is killing it. Oh my god, I'm going to keep watching this show with him. And that's what you need with every Doctor, to hook you in. Because to me, one of the biggest struggles with watching Doctor Who, everybody who loves it can tell you the same thing. You do not want to let go of the current Doctor. You do not want to let go of the current era. And so what is so essential is the new people, they gotta do their damnedest to catch your interest and to keep you invested and to keep you going. You know, Matt Smith did that. Peter Capaldi did that. David Tennant did that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Jodie Whittaker didn't do that. But here we are. Judy got one, and I'm in.
Yeah. Actually, what also helped though was because it was David Tennant that was his like previous Doctor. Like we knew it wasn't going to last long, and we already like said goodbye to him once. So it's like this is also I kind of like the idea though of, in when Tenet first regenerated, his last words were "I don't want to go," and then when he came back and dated Doctor, that was also his last line. But
Yeah.
with the human Doctor, you remember when he got the human Doctor, the one with the one heart, Tenet Doctor,
The one that he gave to Rose.
yeah, that one, he was living a domestic life, and now I feel like that's kind of interesting that he kind of like worked it around again,
You're
so
right,
that
yeah.
so that it's our Doctor, Two Hearts Doctor, living a domestic life again. It's not with Rose,
Right. 'Cause
but
the whole point of that was to give Rose something, was to give
Mhm.
Rose what she wanted, right? To have the life that she dreamt of with the Doctor, not with him, but with basically a similar version of him.
Mhm.
But here we've come back around to where he's the one that's getting, I guess, the reward, right?
yeah. It's like that. That's a cool workaround. It's just, oh man, I don't know how they come up with this stuff. Honestly, it's just like even if it is just on the fly though, it's still really interesting how they come up with stuff. But yeah, I mean, what else happened in the episode? I feel like we missed a lot.
There's so much we didn't talk about the whole thing that came before. There's so much intrigue. I gotta say, Neil Patrick Harris killed it.
Yeah.
I was expecting that to be the case, because I don't think I've ever seen a bad Neil
Mhm.
Patrick Harris performance. But to me, like, the whole thing was kind of what I wanted it to be and kind of what it needed to be. And I think, to me, the moment where it kind of like fell perfectly into place, and you said it, David, was when you said, like, just compare that whole sequence with how it was done with the Master just a few
Mhm.
episodes ago, and just like the difference in levels of quality.
Yeah.
It's like there's like a mountain in between how
Mhm.
bad that was.
Yeah, and I mean, mind you, I only saw clips of it. I didn't like watch the whole episode. But
But,
even then,
but how
though,
could you watch the whole thing? It was
Mhm.
bad. I mean, seriously, I
Yeah.
wouldn't watch the whole thing. It was so unbelievably cringe. Plus, I hated that version of the Master.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. I absolutely despised that version of the Master, because it was to me, it was just being a cartoon for a cartoon's sake, and it was hollow, and it was just, and again, to me, like I mentioned already a few minutes ago, it was just as a longtime viewer, it just, to me, struck incredibly tone deaf to have what perhaps was the most evil Master after what happened with Missy. Because apparently, I mean, we don't really know, but we're just led to believe that this Master was somehow, even though technically they both died, but the version that came after Missy, the only way it makes sense is if this Master somehow was before Missy, but that doesn't at all add up to what we know how the show works. And so, because of what happened there, they were never able to make that Master work for me on any
Mhm.
level. And
Yeah.
so, of course, them doing a whole dance sequence as like, isn't this Master cool? Isn't this Master awesome? Isn't he funny? No, he's cringe.
Yeah.
That was embarrassing.
Mhm.
And even the freaking Cybermen were like, what the fuck is going? What happened to our show?
Yeah. Yeah, and they found I guess, an explanation for that. I guess maybe the toy maker met him and they made some kind of deal, and maybe that's how Missy stayed alive.
Right?
Afterwards,
That's what I was thinking too, because when the toy maker was saying about that, I wasn't thinking. I was like, okay, does he mean the most recent Master, or the one, or the Missy Master?
Mhm.
Because that one was dying. Whatever happened to this most recent? I don't even care. I don't.
No, yeah, I don't know what
I-
happened to him at the end, but
And I don't care.
Yeah, but I mean, we're still getting the Master though, because that was that little clip.
Well,
right there.
yeah.
Dude. I'm excited, especially with especially if it's with Russell T Davies.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I'm curious what they're gonna do there.
Can we just say Russell T Davies also brought back a lot of the creepy the show was missing?
Oh yes, I love the puppets.
A lot of the it's a combination of goofy and creepy that I think I've been missing from the show for a long time. So he brought that back successfully. I always loved to see Kate Stewart. She was here again and of use. And I love how this is kind of subtly happening in the background. I love how like Kate is just like collecting companions, like Thanos is collecting Infinity Stones. Like she's just like adding them onto the payroll. That whole sequence with her basically offering Donna a job, and she's like, "Okay, I guess I got a job," because she does need a job.
Yeah.
And it was in a way random, not random as in like it was off, but it always is interesting when they bring back particularly classic Doctor Who companions like Mal here, even to be fair though, because it is the 60th anniversary, I don't know if you've, I guess that's why we've been seeing so many of them lately, because the last episode of Jodie Whittaker, we had several companions, classic Doctor Who companions come back. We had Ace, who was Sylvester McCoy's main companion. Oh, and I forgot the other one, but she was Pete Davidson's main companion too, or one of his companions. I don't want to say for sure because I haven't actually seen all those episodes. But to me, it's always, I think, an absolute treasure when the show brings back particularly classic, well, any old character, but particularly classic companions, because it really does it shows you how much of a happy family this is. Even one, I don't know if you noticed, but in to me, one of the things that I liked about that last episode with Jodie Whittaker was that Yaz, started a support group for all the former companions. And at the time I was like, which makes me wonder, hey, the Doctor can now pay them a visit.
Yeah.
And reunite with them. And Donna can also see them all at the same time. And one of the things I liked about that whole moment in, that last Jodie Whittaker episode was that old man was Ian. That was one of his first companions. That was the one, because in the first iteration of the show was William Hartnell, and he had 3 companions: his daughter Susan, and then Ian and Barbara. And that was Ian. That was the same actor who was on the first iteration of the show in the 1960s. And he's the one that says, "Did you say her?" Because of course, when he knew the Doctor, it was he, not she. At that point. So, it's great to see an old face, even though I don't really know her. It just feels kind of whimsical and nostalgic in a way to see. It's the same way how it was when they brought back Sarah Jane Smith in season 2, right? Like, you don't really know who she is, but you're getting a lot out of that interaction. You're getting a lot of backstory and history. And by the way, she was mentioned here.
Yeah.
I think the first time she was mentioned in a very long time.
For sure.
And I mean, actually addressing the fact that she has also passed away in the canon of Doctor, because, I believe Elizabeth Slater, that's the actress's name, correct? I hope I didn't mess that up. But she passed away a few years back. And the last time we saw her on the show was in season 4. I believe, when he was saying goodbye to a lot of old companions before he regenerated into Matt Smith. But this is the first time she's been brought up in God knows how long, and him saying, "I miss her so much." Even River Song was brought up here as well. So it's like, to me, these were all the big names. These are all the people who, not that anybody else that wasn't mentioned wasn't important to the Doctor, but like, these are people who he has lost. These are people who he has been carrying for such a long time. And so again, that also works on 2 levels. It works on as though those of us who've been longtime viewers getting to hear those names brought back up, but it shows that it's not just us who carry on their memories. He continues to carry the memories, and you can tell the toll that it has taken on him. The VFX are great. I love the sets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the sets were really cool. Especially the one with the laser on it. Like, I think that was just really, really cool.
Right. I thought it was hilarious, the whole idea of Ncuti Gatwa's whole introduction, him wearing, I guess, half of the clothes that I guess David Tennant was, and he was just there was just no pants.
Yeah.
It's just like, what a way to introduce people to you, right? That's just hilarious. I would say though, and this is not something I hold against anybody. It's just one thing that, and he is there though not in person. It would have been nice to have seen Wilf in that last scene with them all together. That would have been the one thing that would have like just would have been the icing on top. And you know they do say that he's with them. He's just off shooting, I guess, moles or something, which is it's nice.
Yeah.
But it would have been that a little bit better if we had gotten to see him in there. But of course, I understand that his health wasn't able to do so. He wasn't able to do it because of his health, basically. But I gotta say, my initial reactions to this episode are very, very, very positive. You know, I that whole sequence, especially when the realization is dawning on me, as it is on everybody else, what they're actually going to do about this whole two doctor situation, and Donna being the one to communicate to him, it felt like us trying, like actually coming into the show and actually grabbing hold of the doctor and like shaking him and saying, this is what we've been trying to tell you for many, many years now. Like, it's time for you to take a breather. It's time for you to enjoy the people who you do have in your life. I loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
For sure. And I mean, yeah, this is that has been like an ongoing thing. I loved it in Matt Smith's run where it was a Christmas special where he saves, where he like take care of that one family, the one that just lost their dad and all that.
Yeah.
And at the end, she's just like, it's Christmas. Don't be fucking alone. Go back to family. That's when he goes back to Amy Pond and Rory. And I love that moment though. She like squirts him with water, and she's just, and he goes, "Yeah, we have a plate for you." It's like, you didn't know it was coming. It's like, we always have a plate for you, and it's like, oh my god. And then it's so, it's just, that was just a sweet moment, and so I'm good. I'm just glad we have like a little soft reboot going on in this, and I'm the only thing I'm kind of worried about is if the world is in danger, are we just not gonna see Tenet?
Because it still puts him in play.
Yeah.
You know? That's an interesting question you brought up.
Yeah. That's my only worry. I mean, they can just not make it like world-ending stakes. They can still make it kind of small. Obviously, he can go back to Earth. It'd just be like, make it during a time before he stays, or make it during a time before he stays for sure. Or just say, he's off somewhere. It'll be tiny. It will be small lines like that. They'll be perfectly fine. But I'm just kind of curious how they'll handle that.
I also, personally, I would never mind if we didn't see him again.
Yeah.
But I know at some point we're gonna see him again. I just feel like at this point, David Tennant's come back too many times for it to ever be the last time. And at the same time, no faces ever really leave Doctor Who. I mean, we just saw Mel. This is probably her first appearance on the show since when? The 1980s? No, and even like I just mentioned, Ian, that was his first episode of Doctor Who since the 1970s? I mean, it's like no show really ever, no face, I should say, ever really goes away. So, I'm just, I am so happy Russell T Davies is back doing this show, because he is just giving me things that I really needed the show to give me for a long time now. And especially coming off of what we just went through with Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall, and how it was really a completely different show at that point. This feels like, in so many ways, like what Donna said to the 14th Doctor right now, you getting this face back is the sign for you to come home. And it just feels like we're back. We're home. This is exactly what this show is supposed to be on every single freaking level, because I'm sorry, what Chris Chibnall did to Doctor Who from a writing standpoint was inferior in every way imaginable. Absolutely inferior. Even the stupid choice to stopped doing Christmas specials and doing New Year's Eve specials. Well, guess what's back? We got Christmas specials back.
Christmas specials.
I mean, it's like
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't be happier with how things ended up, honestly, right now. I'm really curious to see the reaction online.
Yeah.
I'm expecting some hot takes. I'm expecting
Mhm.
some people to not be happy with it. It's okay. It's whatever. You do you. Doctor Who is, to me, more than anything, um, a show that lives and dies by its characters, and I so fucking adore these characters. This is why it's one of my favorite shows ever, and while I'll continue to see it, especially, well, as long as we have people who I think are steering the ship and know what the show is supposed to be.
Mhm.
So I at this point I've got nothing else to say. Do you have anything to
Yeah.
add on here? I mean, we'll be back in 2 weeks. It looks like.
Yeah. And no, I don't know. No, yeah, I got everything that I wanted. I was expecting Neil Patrick Harris to give a great performance, and he really did. I kind of wish he wasn't gone, but it is what it is. I love David Tennant's coming that they came back. I love his ending. It's almost perfect. I mean, they left it a little bit open, but that's all right. I'm excited for Shudi's character. We got enough of him to kind of get an idea of how he's going to be, but I'm very curious how he's going to be like in certain situation, dire situations with his next companion. So I mean, who knows? But yeah, he definitely he has that energy of like when Tennant and Smith first came out, So I'm very curious, and I'm excited. And I'm very curious what people are gonna say about this. Again, I'm expecting complaints about the whole bi-generation, but like I said, regeneration when it first came up, it was just kind of like a way to keep the show going. They just made this up just so it can keep going, but also give it like a little reboot in a sense, And so, yeah, I'm excited.
Okay. All right then. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.